In this video, we're going to be comparing the Kaizen 2 formula by A&E/the club to Kaizen 1. Yes, I know, Kaizen 1 just came out. Well, now Kaizen 2 is out as well, so we'll compare that. And we'll roll again with the mighty Weck. Stay tuned. Hey there, folks, and welcome back for another video. I'm your host, CDB. Thanks so much for joining me again today. And today, I think we have a very good one. We're going to be comparing the Kaizen 2 formula to the Kaizen 1 formula side by side to see if we can tell any difference between them. We know there are some differences already based on the ingredients. We'll get into that in a moment. And of course, we're going to be using the mighty Weck. Let me explain how I set things up. So I took half teaspoon of each soap. The club, this is Baccarat or Baccarat, however you want to say that. And I lathered it up. And I have the West Coast Shaving red-handled two-tone brush. With this, I have the Grecian Horse, which is the original Kaizen formula, in the black handle to match the Grecian Horse. Both nice scents. I prefer this one of the two in terms of scent, but I like both. Since this is new to me, we'll go ahead and talk a little bit about the scent. When I first got this, I didn't know if I liked it, but I kept smelling it and smelling it and smelling it, and now it's growing on me. It's a nice scent. I'm going to put right there the notes for you. This is one of those soaps where the notes individually don't stick out to me, but they sort of come together. And Pete describes on his website, it almost has a cotton candy type quality to the scent, which I agree. Burnt sugar, cotton candy. Scent strength on this is about maybe a 4. It's definitely under medium. At first, I wasn't sure, but it has grown on me since I've been smelling it ever since receiving it. So here you go, the club Baccarat or Baccarat. This is a club exclusive in Kaizen 2. Now, what are the differences between the two formulas? Let me show you the slide right there. And the items that are highlighted in yellow are differences. So you see there's 2 things that are not in Kaizen version 2 that are highlighted in yellow. And on the bottom there, you'll see 5 new ingredients that aren't present in Kaizen 1. So we can objectively bring you that information. The cost, interestingly enough, I actually paid more for the Grecian Horse than the Kaizen 2 Baccarat or whatever it is. And oftentimes that is because the scenting oils and so on. The price is good for a soap of this quality, under $5 for each, which on our price scale is a fair price. So this is a premium type soap that comes to you at a pretty good price, I think. The razor today, again, the Weck. I want to call your attention to something. When you buy one of these Wecks, and this is the hair shaper online, there are different sizes. There's a small version, and I'll put them up side by side. And can you see the difference there? Quite a bit smaller. And also the sexto blade is larger. The smaller version of the hair shaper is about to my eye, about a full inch or more smaller than the full-size hair shaper or sexto blade. So keep that in mind. These are pretty small. So they don't look small in the pictures, but they may be. So try to get yourself, if you have bigger hands, especially one of the larger ones. All right, let's get to work. Same amount of water in both bowls, by the way. 10 sprays, and this is a spray, which is a fair amount of water, actually. So let's start 24 hours growth here, standard. And let's go ahead and mist the face. And on the right side, we'll have our Kaizen 2. Which lathered up very creamy, nicely. So the one thing I can say for sure, in my view, your A&E soaps or club soaps, you're going to get luxury in terms that you're going to get that creamy lather. They have all the butters, the Super Blue Emu, the Dragon Tallow, all the butters with the mystical properties. They're in here, and you're going to make, most likely, if you lather it properly, a nice creamy lather that's, to me, quite enjoyable. And I think that's really one of the main differences that I get from some of these premium soaps is the quality of the lather. You just feel better about it. It's creamy. It looks better. Personal pride and so on. When it comes to slickness, I can't discern that much difference, generally speaking. Now, we're going to compare these two and see. But we can't measure slickness objectively. So we're just sort of trying to judge, and that's very difficult. We know there are objective differences here in the ingredients. That much we can tell you for sure. One of the things I want to mention is I lathered this first, so it may have lost a little bit of moisture, but both are quite good. To my eye, the Kaizen 2 looks maybe slightly more creamy, but it is the same amount of water in each 10 sprays. Both feels great on the face. Now, I know there's been some folks recently talking about frag burn or irritation with Kaizen. My advice is, if you think you might be sensitive to a soap, don't face lather it and work it in. Bowl lather it. And I'm going to continue to say that because we don't want anybody to get a reaction. And the worst thing you can do if you're going to have a reaction is to work it in. So try to face lather it, paint it on, and see how it feels, and then go from there. That's my advice. So we'll start over here with our Kaizen 2 formula, which as of now is a club exclusive. You can only get this if you're a member of the Shaving Shop Club, which there's a membership for. It's not very much. To me, it's worthwhile because I do like the A&E product. And, you know, I know there's a lot of folks raising concerns right now about fulfillment, customer service, so on and so forth. And I think those are legitimate concerns to raise. And Pete has acknowledged some of those concerns as well, both in comments and, you know, in other forums and places that it's something he's working on. I know that's not a satisfactory answer for many people who don't feel like they've gotten the best of service. But I do know that's what Pete says. So we'll leave that where it is, and you can judge your experience yourself. And if you have a great experience, then great. And if you don't, you know, obviously we hope for better in the future. Generally, my experience has been good. The shipping is not always speedy. The shipping on this one was fine. It was first class. It came in a week, and you can't expect much for first class. That side, by the way, brilliant. No performance issues whatsoever. And honestly, we expect the same from the Kaizen side, the regular Kaizen. So this is Kaizen 2, again, versus Kaizen 1, which, again, Kaizen 1 is only a few months old. So this is not an old and busted formula. Now, according to Peter, some of the main changes to this, or one of the main things, is post. And you know me, I'm not one to judge post-shave because I use post-shave products. And my honest opinion on post-shave properties from soap is, it's really hard to gauge because most of us use aftershaves. And some of us use balms and witch hazels and all those sort of things. So it's going to be really hard to, in a fair way, judge post-shave. I just think it's because you're adding so much if you're using post-shave products. And so my recommendation is, if you're worried about post-shave, just get a post-shave product, a balm, and you won't have to chase these bases. You'll know that your post-shave is always going to be great, you know. So let's add a little water here. Obviously, when you add a little water, both sides really, really slick. I can't tell any difference in slickness, but they are both slick. That's to be expected. I think you can reasonably assume at this point that when you're getting an Ariana and Evans and Club soap, it's going to be good quality. I mean, I think that's pretty much a foregone conclusion. At this point, it is widely regarded as one of the best, if not the. And I can tell you right now, the quality of this lather is first rate in terms of luxury. And I'm making the distinction luxury because, to me, the way this lather looks, got that beautiful sheen to it, feels super creamy on the face. It's definitely going to be slick. But on the other hand, honestly, if you lather soaps properly, most of them will be slick. Is this one slicker? I can't really tell you, but it is slick. I just don't have any way of objectively measuring slickness. I do think that this go around, the Kaizen 2, visually to me, appears a bit more creamy and dense, even though I'm using the exact same amount of soap, same amount of water. But keep in mind, there's still a human element here. So I tried to spend exactly the same amount of time bowl lathering, but to my eye, it seems like Kaizen 2 slightly more creamy. I don't know if that is an intended effect, but again, it's impossible to make this a direct one-to-one comparison. We'd have to have a machine to do that, really. But it is definitely creamy. Both sides were slick. I couldn't really discern any slickness difference in that first pass. Again, when we talk about post, that's something that, you know, I'm using alum, I'm using witch hazel, and I'm going to use a splash. So the post shape is going to be mostly inconsequential for me because I'm using 3 alcohol-based products, which also have ingredients. And for me, that pretty much, in often cases, will negate whatever post-shave properties the soap might have or is purported to have. And, you know, post-shave for me is in that realm of utter subjectivity because there's just no way to really measure that. And so when you hear those things, understand it's someone's opinion, just like slickness is someone's opinion. So, you know, take it with a grain of salt. The other things that become important to consider when we talk about slickness and post-shave is how we lathered the product. How much water did we use? You know, how did we lather it? Did we add a lot of air to the mix? You know, it's just, there's so many variables that it makes it very, very difficult to really accurately assess many of these claims, which is why I'm trying to give you as much objective information as I can. Here are the differences in ingredients. Here you can have a look at the lather and see if you can make any judgments about it. But keep in mind, it's a human making the lather. It's not a machine. So I could have simply lathered the Kaizen 2 a little better. Now, I will say, this club, Baccarat or whatever that is, the scent has definitely grown on me. And I sort of agree with Pete's description where he says it almost has a burnt sugar or cotton candy sort of vibe to it. I think I'd be inclined to agree with that, and I do like it. When I first opened it, and if you saw that unboxing, I was really on the fence. And I really kept opening it and smelling it all evening. And I was like, because what was happening initially, I would smell it, and the first part of the nose, I liked it. And then the back end, there was something I didn't care for. But as I've been smelling it more and more, I've grown to like it, and I do believe this is a keeper. Will it be in my top 5 A&E scents? No, but it's very pleasant. I do like the Grecian Horse better. The Grecian Horse is fantastic. And I need to get the aftershave for that product. Both of these are, you know, plenty slick enough. I can't tell any difference, to be honest with you. The Weck is, you know, the Weck blade is cutting the way it's supposed to. We're certainly not having any performance issues whatsoever. And that, quite frankly, that's expected. I would agree with the masses when they say Kaizen is one of the best quality soaps out there in terms of, you know, the properties all around. And if you consider cost, I think it's very good. You know, if you're into premium formulas, whereas it gives you these, you know, luxurious properties and enjoyable. To me, enjoyment is what the luxury products bring. I don't get a ton of discernible difference in necessarily how the shave goes, but I do get some enjoyment. Oh, let's rehydrate. We never want to forget rehydrating. I do get additional enjoyment when you look at this lather, it's quite enjoyable. There is something to making one of those super creamy and peaky lathers, and it's just fun. And so there's no reason not to take advantage of it if that's something you enjoy. But the reason I point out oftentimes that it doesn't necessarily mean it's better is because my shaves with the regular products are just as good. Now, this to me is definitely more enjoyable. That's where I draw the distinction really between a luxury or premium product and a so-called normal product or less expensive product. I do think the K2, although that, that's not bad either. It could be the lighting, but the K2 looks maybe a little creamy. But again, that could be me. Because everybody knows the Kaizen, I don't think I've heard anybody say the Kaizen isn't good. I've heard people talk about customer service. I've heard people talk about issues with fragrance, or not. I've heard people talk about they don't like, Pete's attitude or the way he does business or any number of things. But when it comes to the product itself, I mean, it's good. There's no question about it. I do think, and again, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this, I am not an A&E fanboy. I know Peter fairly personally. I've met Pete, and I share feedback hoping to help Pete. I'm not somebody who's just going to excuse, everything that goes wrong because he's my friend. I'll share legitimate feedback because I think it's helpful. And I hope Pete, when he sees these type of videos, he understands the spirit in which I give the feedback is to help. Because when you have a bunch of fanboys who just say everything is great and they excuse everything, if there's a problem, they just excuse it, or they try to criticize the people who air legitimate complaints, that's not helpful for a business, in my opinion. And I did see that not too long ago when, Pete himself aired an issue inside one of his, inside his club Facebook group and said, our Achilles heel has been fulfillment and handling some of these outstanding issues. And we're going to work very hard to correct that. And then subsequent to him, keep in mind, Pete started out this thread himself. And he's saying, yeah, we need to do better on that. And I'm like, great, man. Almost all the subsequent comments were, there's no problem. You're number one. People need to be more patient. And they began, not Pete, but others in that group began to sort of criticize anyone who raises a complaint, saying they're impatient or it's the post office's fault. And in many cases, it can be, for sure. We'll talk about that maybe in the video tomorrow, a recent experience I had with the post office. But there wasn't really anybody in that thread holding them to account, other than Pete himself saying he had a problem. Because everybody else came in, don't worry about it, Pete. You're doing the best you can. You're number one. And one guy even apologized for ever emailing about outstanding orders. And I was like, holy crap. So I must say, after I saw that, it sort of opened my eyes. And I know in the past, Reddit and the folks on Reddit have been roundly criticized for having too much brand loyalty. And basically excusing anything that certain brands do. But let me tell you, it is not exclusive to Reddit, because I've seen it myself on almost every platform where artisans are preferred. They develop fans, and the fans become zealots to some degree for the brand. And I saw this myself with A&E. And it was just, there were very few objective, or excuse me, not objective, but there were very few people on a thread that Pete started about needing to do better on customer service who said, yeah, Pete. It looks like I got myself there today. So we did not have a brilliant shave today with the Weck, probably because I'm jacking my jaw. So not a brilliant shave today with the Weck, but anyway, what I want to get across is, don't be a zealot for the brands. There's not a brand out there that's perfect. Allow some legitimate discussion about things that can improve. We want improvement, don't we? I'm not saying Pete is doing a poor job. I'm just saying, don't be a zealot. allow for some discussion, especially when the artisan himself says, I need to improve on this. Allow that to happen. Okay, let me rinse. We'll come back into the post. Stay tuned. And all right, so we're back, and I've done a cold water rinse. No alum or anything yet. Let's just feel the face. The cold water rinse cleaned up that weeper there for the most part, it looks like. Can I tell a difference right now? My face is wet. It feels great on both sides. I can't really discern any difference. I'm going to go ahead and hit it with the alum. I think you should expect that it'll probably be good. I mean, that's one of the purported, properties of these Kaizen soaps is that they lend themselves to a good post shave. Again, I'm using alum now. After I use this, I'm going to rinse it off and follow up with witch hazel and a splash. So I'm not going to be able to tell, but after the rinse, I couldn't tell that much difference. You might be able to. I'm not saying that my experience is going to be yours, but to me, there wasn't a significant difference between the two there. Let me rinse. We'll come back and finish the post. All right, and we're back with the magic made by witches. This is Thayer's witch hazel, again, which includes witch hazel and some astringent properties and things like aloe as well. By the way, that right there, I opened up a bump, but still, if I see blood, generally, that disqualifies this shave from being great. I did not perform as well as I should have. No fault of the equipment. Always my fault. Always my fault. The buck stops here. In terms of the equipment today, the Club Baccarat. Nice scent. It wouldn't be in my top 5 A&E scents, but I have grown to like it, and I think this will turn out to be a keeper. Terrific quality soap. I don't think there's any question about it. Is it way, way better than Kaizen 1? I just can't tell, to be honest with you. Visually, I think it gave me a little bit more creamy a lather, but that could completely be on me. It may not be the soap. What I can objectively tell you, based on the ingredients, 5 different ingredients in this soap. So there you have it. Would I chase this base for post? No, I would just pick up a balm or a post-shave product. To me, the easiest way to make sure that your skin's going to feel great is to use something designed for that purpose, specifically for that purpose. If you're going to use post-shave products anyway, why not add a balm or something that gives you everything you need rather than chasing these bases to obtain that? To me, I just don't see the need for that. That's just me. We used the Weck today, which the Weck did well. I did not. I did open up that bump there, but it's nothing of concern. The shave was comfortable, but I was not perfect today. So there is that. We're going to finish it off and treat myself to a little Zarharoff. This is a Gentleman's Nod and a Zarharoff collaboration. Beautiful scent because I don't have the aftershave of either of those. I definitely need to get the Grecian Horse aftershave. And we're going to smell great and sophisticated all day with the Zarharoff. This is beautiful stuff. This would be easily, for me, in my top 10 scents of all time. It is that good. I absolutely love it. Terrific. I want to thank everybody for joining this extended shave. I hope you've gotten something, excuse me, not something, but something from this. Really difficult to tell. Look, you're going to win either way, whether you're getting the Kaizen old school, Kaizen 2, or even the formula before that. All great in my opinion. You should not have any problems in terms of slickness and the properties you need to execute a good shave. If you do your job, the A&E will do its job. There's no question about that. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me. Until next time, I've been your host, CDB, reminding you, it's your shave, do it your way, and as always, God bless.